Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all to the lecture number 9 for your course. My name is Engineer Jafar Ali. I am instructor for this course. Today's topic will be about the access list, or you can normally people call it access control list, ACL. Let's go deep into the conversation about the access control list or access list. So what is access control list or access list or ACL? So ACL is basically a set of rules which allow or deny a specific traffic moving through a router. So there is a router which is basically a gateway. You know that the router is the gateway, and it controls the traffic activity that is going through with itself. So this control list is basically the layer 3 security level. You know that network layer is the basically layer 3, and this feature is added on this layer 3, and this layer 3 security, it is the layer 3 security which controls the flow of traffic from one router to another router, towards the server or towards the client. This is basically a security feature that is embedded in the layer 3 or L3, that is network layer of OSI reference model. So it is also called as a packet filtering firewall. So you know that the firewall is the same which allows or blocks a specific service or a specific traffic through the router. So you can call this access control list basically a filter or a firewall. So what are the problems with this access list? So mostly this is basically the first problem that people face is basically the lack of planning, and this lack of planning is one of the most common problems associated with this access list. So there is lack of ideas and clarity among the users or different kind of organizations that which packet they want to allow or block. For example, mostly in university campuses, they have blocked, or you can say they have not provided you access through the router towards Facebook or YouTube. But let's talk about YouTube actually. So YouTube is used for different educational purposes as well. So one of the problem that students face while using the YouTube at the campus, because they want to access the YouTube for some good educational purposes, but due to the lack of clarity and lack of planning, this access list is basically embedded with the YouTube as a block firewall. So university routers does not allow YouTube packets, even though you want to have you want to learn some new thing, or you want to hear or listen the lecture of any specific subject. So you do not have the access towards the YouTube server. So that is why the first problem towards the access list control is basically the lack of planning. The second thing, or the second problem associated with that, is basically the need to enter the list sequentially in the router also presents some problems. And the first problem is that you cannot move individual statements when they are entered. So for example, we have entered the address of YouTube as a block number, or you can say a block server. So for example, an individual wants to access the YouTube, and you want to give the university wants to give the permission to that specific user. So because he has the user the university administration has entered the YouTube server as a blacklist, so that is why or you can say the university cannot have. And the next problem associated with this is that when you are making some changes, you must remove the list using the no access list or the list number command, and then you have to re-enter or retype the commands. So if your special guest or your chief guest wants to access YouTube, or your any guest want to access YouTube, you have to delete that entry or remove that entry from your no access list, from the list number, or from this access control list using the commands. And after he has used his data for his own traffic or purposes, or for his own educational purposes, after that you can re-enter or retype the command. And the last problem associated with this access list is basically This list begin working the second they have applied to the interface. So as soon as you apply the access list, it directly implement that list. So these are some small problems, minute problems that are associated with this access control list or ACL. So now come towards the types of access list or access control list, that how you can manage or how can you control this access list. So basically there are two main categories that are there for the access list. The first one is numbered and the second one is name. And as the name shows, the numbered list, I will discuss that in the coming slides. The number list is then further divided into two subcategories. The first one is standard and the second one is extended. Similarly, the named category is divided into two more categories. The first one is standard and the second one is extended. There is a missing line in the diagram. I will show you that this is the proper diagram. So this is the diagram. Now let's talk about the difference between standard list and extended access list. So in the standard access list, the list number ranges from 1 to 99, that is from single digit to 2 digit. And in the extended access list, as the name shows, that when you have more entries or you want to have more control, so you basically are going towards 3 digits, that is from 100 to 199. So these are the 100 entries that are there for the extended access list. Similarly, in standard access list, you can block a network or a host or a subnet, so you have the more opportunity over here. And in the extended access list, the name shows that it is extended version of the standard version. So in this kind of access list, you can block a network, a host, a subnet, and a specific service as well. So as you have the more control over the router, you can manage the services as well. So this is the for example, you do not want to run the Facebook application on a specific network, so you can block either the host or the network or the subnet, or you can either block the service, so the Facebook service will not be working in your router, the devices associated or connected to your router. In the standard access list, the two-way communication is stopped, and in the extended access list, only one-way communication is stopped. Either you are blocking UL, that is uplink, or you are blocking DL, downlink. So mostly people use this UL. University campuses use this UL to block, because if you are because if your university allows you to use this UL and after that you block the DL, so the energy you realized during this UL will be wasted. That is why mostly people block this UL, so you will not be able to upload anything. Similarly, there will be no feedback or DL towards your query or towards your response. So this is the good method to block anyone or block a specific service or a user or a host or subnet or a network. In this type of standard access list, all the services are blocked, and in extended access list, specific or selected services can be blocked. Not all the services are blocked, but you can specify or you can particular assign a service that you want to block. In standard access list, it is implemented closest to the destination. So, and it is implemented closest to the source. So I have told you that this is the let's say your transmitter and this is your receiver. So this standard access list will be somewhere closest to this receiver or the server. This will be the standard position of the standard access list. And this extended access list, this will be closest to the sources. I have already told you that it is mostly applied on the UL uplink. So the transmitter closest to the transmitter. So this extended version of ACL will be implemented closest to the source, that is creating or generating the traffic. Filtering is done on based on the only source IP address, while in extended control access list, this checks the source, destination, protocol, and port number as well. So you can see that here you have more opportunity as compared to the standard list. So that is why the name is extended access control list or extended access list. So let's talk about the basic terminologies that are associated or with the ACL. So the first thing is deny. Deny means you have to block a specific network, a host, a service, or a subnet. So you have to put this entry on the ACL, that is access control list, if you want to deny. This acts as a filter. So entries made in the list will be blocked immediately. The second word is permit. That if you want to allow a specific network or a specific host or a specific subnet or a specific service, you will associate this permit command with that address of the network or host or service. So after entering that command, you will be immediately allowing that specific host, network, subnet, or service to access your user. User will be able to access these any kind of this service or subnet or host or network, etc. So let's talk about source address. You know that the source address is basically the address of the PC from where the request starts. So this is basically the IP address or the MAC address, the physical or logical address. The source address can be of two types. You know that the first one is logical and the second one is physical. So these are two types of addressing that you can use. Similarly, the destination address, because you know that this is the address of the server. So the address of the PC where the request ends, and usually it is a server. So here it is the address of the physical or the logical address of the destination. It can be a logical address, that is a IP address, and it can be a physical address, that is a MAC address. The last two terms that is new for you is basically inbound and outbound. Inbound is basically traffic coming into the interface. Your router, let's say this is your router, and this is your interface towards the router. So this is inbound coming towards into the interface, and let's say this is the interface that is taking your data outside to the world. That is basically your outbound traffic going out to that interface. You can have same interface used for two different inbound and outbound as well, but mostly there are different interface for inbound and outbound. So there are certain rules that are that you need to follow or that you need to implement before creating this access list. So the first one is that all deny statement must have to be given first. So the first thing that you for you is basically that you have to enter the deny statements at the very start. Before allowing anyone, you have to enter some deny statements. If you do not want to block anyone, the deny statement should be given, but as a form of null. So there will be a null sent to the router that there should be no blocking, no deny statements. But the first thing that you need to enter is basically the deny statements. After that, there should be at least one permit statement. You cannot have a router that is basically blocking everyone. So there will be no need of the router, because if you are blocking everything, why there is a need of networking? So there should be at least one permit statement. An implicit deny blocks all the traffic by default when there is no match. An invisible statement. So it means that if you there is a kind of deny that is known as implicit deny, and it blocks all the traffic by default. It will block all the traffic by default when there is no match. So if there is a packet coming towards the router and you see that there is no destination of the desired packet towards the desired router or desired destination, so it will be immediately blocked. So this is basically the implicit deny. You can have one access list per interface per direction. So I have told you that a router can have same interfaces for the inbound and outbound, or they can use different interfaces as well. So you can have one access list per interface per direction. So in this case there will be two access lists. The first one is for the inbound and the second list will be for the outbound. So this one interface, this was the first interface, and this had two directions, so there will be two ACL access control list. And in this scenario there will be only one access control list, only one ACL, because in this interface this is only one directional interface or unidirectional interface, and this one is basically the bidirectional interface, BDI. You have to work in the sequential order. So we'll talk about that in the later slides, but for now you have to know that you will have to provide the information in the sequential order. You cannot jump into the entry number 4, entry number 5 or entry number 7 directly. You have to follow the sequence. If you are using a numbered system for the ACL, so you will have to follow a sequential order. Editing of access control list is not possible. That is, you cannot select or add or remove some statements within this scenario. So you have to go sequential work. You have to, if you want to edit all the specific entry, you have to basically start from the very start and go to the very bottom. So it will work something like this. This will be a sequential order. Now, what is wildcard mask? This is a very much known term in the field of networking or routing. This tells the router which addressing bits must be matched in the address of the ACL statements, because you know that for the packet to reach its proper destination, the addressing bits must be matched. So this wildcard mask is basically the one which is there to tell the router that which addressing bits must be matched with the ACL statement. We will look at the example in the coming slide as well. So it is the inverse of the subnet mask, hence it is also known as the inverse mask. So if anyone asks you what is the wildcard mask, you just have to take the inverse of the subnet mask. And how do we do that? Let's see in the coming slide. A bit value of 0 indicate must match, that is to check the bits, and a bit value of 1 indicates ignore, that if you do not want to match the bits, you can just put a 1, and that 1 would indicate that it is ignored and you have to ignore bits. Wildcard mask for any host will be always tetra 0, quad 0, 0.0.0.0. It means this is the wild card mask for a host. So whenever you see an IP address like this, always think about that it is basically nothing but a wild card mask for a host. So let's talk about the example of the wild card mask. I told you that it is basically inverse of the subnet mask. So if you have a specific subnet mask, let's say this is a global subnet mask, that is 255.255.255.255, and if you have a customized subnet mask of your network, that is 255.255.255.240, it can be changed depending upon your geographical area and depending upon your ISPs. So if you are using this kind of subnet mask, this is your customized subnet mask, and this is global subnet mask. And if you subtract these two, you subtract this from this, you get this. So this is basically your wildcard mask. So wildcard mask is basically the difference between the customized subnet mask and the global subnet mask. So let's see, this is example given to you. This is the network diagram. You can see that there are three different routers. That is, one is in Hyderabad, one is KSA, that is King of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the last one is United Arab Emirates. So you can see that these three routers are connecting using these interfaces. There says 0 as switch 1, S0 and S1, and this E0. This is the interfaces, Ethernet interfaces, E0, and these are the links and these are the proper IPs along with the CIDR. That is, we have also discussed what is CIDR, so this is given to you as well. This is the router, and you can say sorry, this is not a router, this is a switch, and this switch is basically connected to the different devices. Similarly, this switch is connected to different devices, and this switch is also connected to different devices using a common channel or common link. So this is a kind of diagram, and this LAN, this is the connection of LAN, because you know that this is a common. I've told you this is sharing a common path. So this is basically a LAN with the IP address of 10.0.0.0/8, 20.0.0.0/8, and 30.0.0.0/8. So this is a kind of network diagram provided to you.
So this was the first part of the lecture number 9. I hope that you have learned quite a lot. I'll see you in the second part. If you have any questions, you can write it down, and you have to ask me in the coming class, because you know that the more you ask, the more you learn. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.